Hi, this is Officer Chuck from your favorite East Kingston Police Department, and wanted to become a police officer to help the neighborhood I work for and keep everyone safe in here in town. And now I'm going to read you a little book about Officer Buckle and Gloria. Officer Buckle knew more safety tips than everyone else in Napville. Every time he thought of a new one, he thumbtacked it to his bulletin board. Safety tip number 77. Never, ever stand on a swivel chair. Officer Buckle shared his safety tips with the students at Napville School. Nobody ever listened. Sometimes they were snoring. Afterward, it was business as usual. Mrs. Topple, the principal, took down the welcome banner. Never ever stand on a swivel chair, said Officer Buckle. Mrs. Topple didn't hear him. Then, one day, Napville's police department bought a police dog named Gloria. When it was time for Officer Buckle to give the safety speech at the school, Gloria went along. Children, this is Gloria, announced Officer Buckle. Gloria obeys my commands. Gloria, sit! And Gloria sat. Officer Buckle gave safety tip number 1. Keep your shoelaces tied. The children sat up and stared. Officer Buckle checked to see if Gloria was sitting at attention, and she was. Safety tip number 2, said Officer Buckle. Always wipe up spills before someone slips and falls. The children's eyes popped. Officer Buckle checked on Gloria again. Good dog, he said. Officer Buckle thought it was a safety tip he had discovered that morning. Never leave a thumbtack where you might sit on it. The audience roared. Officer Buckle grinned. He said the rest of the tips with plenty of expression. The children clapped their hands and cheered. Some of them laughed until they cried. Officer Buckle was surprised. He'd never noticed how funny safety tips could be. After this safety speech, there wasn't a single accident. The next day, an enormous envelope arrived at the police station. It was stuffed with thank you letters from the students at Napville School. Every letter had a drawing of Gloria on it. Officer Buckle thought the drawing showed a lot of imagination. His favorite letter was written on a star-shaped piece of paper. It said, You and Gloria make a good team. Your friend Claire. P.S. I always wear a crash helmet. Safety tip number 7. Officer Buckle was thumbtacking Claire's letter to his bulletin board when the phone started ringing. Grade schools, high schools, and daycare centers were calling about the safety speech. Officer Buckle, they said, our students want you to hear your safety tips, and please bring along that police dog. Officer Buckle told his safety tips to 313 schools. Everywhere he and Gloria went, children sat up and listened. After every speech, Officer Buckle took Gloria out for ice cream. Officer Buckle loved having a buddy. Then one day, a television news team videotaped Officer Buckle in the State College Auditorium. When he finished safety tip number 99, do not go swimming during electrical storms. The students jumped to their feet and applauded. Bravo! Bravo! They cheered. Officer Buckle bowed again and again. That night, Officer Buckle watched himself on the 10 o'clock news. The next day, the principal of Napville telephoned the police station. Good morning, Officer Buckle. It's time for our safety speech. Officer Buckle frowned. I'm not giving any more speeches. Nobody looks at me anyway. Oh, said Mrs. Topple. Well, how about Gloria? Could she come? Someone else from the police station gave Gloria a ride to school. Gloria sat on stage looking lonely. Then she fell asleep. So did the audience. After Gloria left, Napville School had its biggest accident ever. It started with a puddle of a banana pudding. Splat, splatter, sploosh. Everyone slid, smacking into Mrs. Topple, who screamed and let go of her hammer. Next morning, a pile of letters arrived at the police station. Every letter had a drawing of the accident. Officer Buckle was shocked. At the bottom of the pile was a note written on a paper star. Officer Buckle smiled, and the note said, Gloria missed you yesterday. Your friend Claire. P.S. Don't worry, I was wearing my helmet again. Gloria gave Officer Buckle a big kiss on the nose. Officer Buckle gave Gloria a nice pat on the back. Then Officer Buckle thought of his biggest safety tip yet. Safety tip number 101. Always stick with your buddy. Well, that's the story of Officer Buckle and Gloria. Have a good day. Hey guys, got a little story for you about a goldfish. Not Norman, a goldfish story. When I got Norman, I didn't want to keep him. I wanted a different kind of pet, not Norman. I wanted a pet who could run and catch, or one who could climb trees and chase strings. A soft, furry pet to sleep on my bed at night, not Norman. All Norman does is swim around and 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 around. This is it, Norman, I decided. I'm training you for a good pet. Norman doesn't move. Not even a fin twitches. How can I trade him like this? No one will want sorry-looking fish in a gunky bowl. When I drop Norman into his nice, clean bowl, he starts dipping and flipping, flapping his fins around. He looks so goofy, I have to laugh. Don't think that just because you made me laugh, I'm going to keep you, I tell him. Tomorrow, you're out of here. Norman blows a stream of bubbles. The next day, I take Norman to school with me. If I talk him up real good during show and tell, maybe someone will want him. On the way there, we see my friend Austin. Austin has a real cool dog and 7 puppies. Want to swap one of your pups for Norman? I ask. Who's Norman? Says Austin. My goldfish, I say. By the time I rescue Norman, half his water is gone. I'm sorry, I tell Norman when we get to school. I'm really sorry. He just stares at me all goofy-eyed. Finally, it's my turn to show and tell. Just as I start to talk about goldfish, Emily shouts, Jenny's gone. Who let my snake loose? Does anyone hear the story of how I got Norman? Does anyone even ask to hold his bowl? No, they're all jumping and screaming and chasing the snake. Not Norman. He's looking right at me. Thanks for listening, I tell him. That afternoon, we go to my music lesson. As soon as it's over, I'm taking Norman back to the pet store. I take out my tuba and begin to play. Boom, boom, bop. I glance over at Norman. He's swaying back and forth. Glue, glue, glug, he mouths. Look, Norman's singing, I say. Pay attention, snaps Maestro, and try to play the proper notes. Maestro makes me stay for extra practice. By the time my lesson is over, it's too late to go to the pet store. Don't think that just because you like my music, I'm going to keep you, I tell Norman. He glugs. That night, I'm sound asleep when screech, scritch. What's that noise? Screech, scritch. Yikes, there's something at the window. Then out of the corner of my eye, I spot Norman. He isn't scared. He isn't swimming around in circles either. He glugs and gives me a little wave. I'm not alone. Together, Norman and I slide open the curtains. It was just a broken tree branch. Thanks for watching out for me, Norman. On Saturday, I take Norman to the pet store, just like I said I would. I look at the cats and dogs and snakes and birds. I look at the hamsters and mice and lizards too. They all look like good pets, but they are not Norman. When I got Norman, I wasn't sure I wanted to keep him. But now, even if I could pick any pet in the whole world,
I wouldn't trade him. Not Norman. That's it.